Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Okay. So today, as I have already told you, so I'll start with module number 3, that is relations and functions. Okay. So actually, one thing I have to tell you, when you refer the textbook or when you see the syllabus, what happens now in module number 3? First, what he has done is just a minute. I will not go as per that order. Okay. So what I will do is I will start with the Cartesian products. Next, I will start with the relations, then functions. Okay. Then if I teach like that, the flow will be correct, and also most of the theorems you will understand better. Okay. So as I told you, first I'll start with the Cartesian product, followed by relations, then functions. Okay. So now, before I had to tell what the relation and function is, so first of all, you must be knowing what is a Cartesian product. Okay. So now, to tell the definition of the Cartesian product, prior to that, I'll just give one example. Okay. Suppose if you have two sets, say for example set A and set B. If I have to find the Cartesian product between them, it is as simple as cross product. Okay, so this is represented as, okay, I think here there's more lighting, so I'll write here. Okay, so here A cross B, that I'm just giving mathematical definition for a Cartesian product. Okay, so this A cross B is given by, it contains the ordered pair. I'll repeat, it does not contain a single element, always it will contain the ordered pair. Okay, so ordered pair means it is just a pair of elements. You can take any element, say for example, x comma y, 1 comma 2, a comma b, like that. Okay, but the rule is very simple. If I have to consider a particular ordered pair belong to the Cartesian product, then the rule is very simple. The first element should belong to the first set, and the second should belong to the set A, and the second element B should belong to the set B. Okay, so this is the mathematical definition of a Cartesian product. Okay, so based on this, so now let us try to take one example. Suppose, say for example, you have set A is equal to 1 comma 2, and set B is equal to, say for example, 3 comma 4. So based on whatever the definition I have given, if I write the cross product of this, so which are all the elements you will get? Can I write 1 comma 3? Is it a valid ordered pair? Yes, of course it is a valid ordered pair. Why? Because the element 1 belong to the set A and the element 3 belong to the set B. It is a valid one. So similarly, can I write 1 comma 4? Yes, because 1 belongs to the set A and 4 belong to the set B. It is valid. So similarly, I can write 2 comma 3 and I can write 2 comma 4. But can I write 3 comma 1? I cannot write 3 comma 1. Why? Because 3 is an element that belongs to the set B and 1 is an element that belongs to the set A. Okay. So these are the only 4 valid ordered pairs. Okay. So I have to include all the ordered pairs here when I am finding the Cartesian product. So similarly, for the same example, instead of A cross B, if I have to find B cross A, then which are all the elements? So the elements will be, so here the first element should belong to the set B and the second element should belong to the set A. Okay, so based on this, it contains elements 3 comma 1 and 3 comma 2, 4 comma 1 and 4 comma 2. So now you got some idea, right? So similarly, now I just try to find A cross A. Okay, this A cross A is also called as A square. Fine. So here I'm finding the Cartesian product from a set A to itself. Okay. So now what does it contain? It contains 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2, 2 comma 2 and 2 comma 1. Okay. So these are all are the possible ordered pairs. Okay. So now based on whatever the different examples we have taken. So in these examples, so now can you make any observation, like if I ask you the number of ordered pairs in a Cartesian product? Okay. See, actually, when I have started started this DMS class, in the beginning class, actually, I taught you concepts with regard to the sets, right? So I told you what is a set, and I have taught you what are the different operations you can perform on the set, like union operation, intersection, difference, like that, symmetry difference, like that. We have different operations we have seen, and also I have taught you about what is a subset, what is a power set, right? And I have told you the number of elements in a set, right? Say for example, if A is a set, okay, if I have to talk about the number of elements in the set, I have to write cardinality of A, okay? So similarly, so now this A cross B is a Cartesian product between A and B, okay, fine. So now if I have to find the number of ordered pairs in this Cartesian product, that is denoted as cardinality of A cross B, okay? If I write the cardinality symbol here, you should not tell about the elements that is present here, rather you have to speak about the total number of the ordered pairs that is present, okay? So now, what is the cardinality of A cross B here? So this is given by 4, right? So what is the cardinality of B cross A? Again, it is 4, okay? So now, okay, only with this example, I cannot make you to tell one formula. So I'll just take one more example, okay? So let me solve one more example. Okay. So now let us try to solve this problem. So what I have here is A is equal to 1, 2, and B is equal to, assume I have 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So now if I find A cross B, okay. So which are all the ordered pairs that is present in? So it will be 1, 4, and then 2, 5. Okay. So now what is the cardinality of A cross B? That is equal to 6. We have 6 ordered pairs, so it is equal to 6. Previously, we found the Cartesian product between the two sets which has 2 and 2 elements. Set A has had 2 elements and set B had 2 elements. In that case, we got cardinality of A cross B is equal to, we got 4. So here, what is the cardinality of A cross B? We got 6. So similarly, I'll take one more example. Let us try to find B cross B. Okay, find a Cartesian between set B to itself. Four, 4, 5, and then 5, 3, 5, 4, and 5, 5. And if you observe this, the cardinality of B cross B is equal. What I am trying to tell, can you guess? If I know the number of elements in set A and set B, just a moment. Okay, so if I know the number of elements in set A and set B, I'll repeat, if I know the number of elements in set A and set B, can I find the number of elements in its Cartesian product? So now can you guess the formula for cardinality of A cross B? The cardinality of A cross B, don't you think it will be equal to number of elements in the set A into the number of elements in set B? Right? Will you agree for this? Okay, so usually if I know the number of elements in set A, the number of ordered pairs in the Cartesian product is given by its product. So now you know the definition of the Cartesian product. In exam, when they ask you the definition of Cartesian product, just like I have told you before, just if you write the definition, you won't get any marks. Along with that, you have to give one example. Okay. And when I tell you to write the definition, just like the module 1, you cannot write any sentence, any definitions in the form of sentence, like what is a tautology? A compound proposition whose truth values are always true. This is called as a tautology. Like that, you cannot write in the form of sentence. Okay. So what you need to do is you have to write the mathematical definition. Okay. So like what is a Cartesian product? If A and B are two sets, then their Cartesian product A cross B is given by, it contains the ordered pair, say for example, A comma B, such that A belongs to the first element and B belongs to the second element. That is the definition. Along with that, you have to give one example. If you do that, you will get full marks. Fine. So you are clear with Cartesian product. Once you are clear with the Cartesian product, next you will understand the relations and functions clearly. Okay. But before that, in exam, in almost in every question paper, the thing is definitely on Cartesian product, you will get one question. Okay. That question might be, he might ask a definition, or he will just ask you one simple problem. Let us take one problem, or he might ask even the theorem. Okay, so the theorems also, it will be very simple. I'll tell you. Before that, let us try to solve a few examples. Fine. So I'll just give you one example. Say for example, set A is equal to, let set A is equal to 1 comma 3 comma 5. Set B is equal to, say for example, 2 comma 4. Fine. Set C is equal to, say for example, 3 comma 6. Okay. So based on this, find A cross B. Next, cardinality of B cross C. Next, find A union of B cross C. Okay. So simple problems. Take 2 minutes time. Try to solve it. See, you have to be very careful whether the examiner he is asking cardinality of A cross B, cardinality of A cross B or A cross B. First of all, you have to know. You have to see carefully. Okay. So now he is asking you cardinality. He is just asking you A cross B. So A cross B in the sense you have to just write all the possible ordered pairs. Okay. So which are all are the possible ordered pairs? So you'll be writing. So this is the Cartesian product between A and B, right? So what you have to write? You will be writing 1 comma 2, 1 comma 4. Next 3 comma 2, 3 comma 4. Next 5 comma 2, 5 comma 4. Very simple, right? So in the second question, what he is asking? He is asking you the total number of elements in the Cartesian product of B cross C. So for this, this is given by the formula m into n. Okay, where what is m? M is the number of elements in set A and n is number of elements in the set C. Okay, sorry, number of elements in the set B and number of elements in the set C. Okay, the number of elements in the set B is 2 and the number of elements in the set C is again 2. So the cardinality of B cross C will be equal to 4, right? So similarly, he is asking you A union of B cross C. Okay, try to solve it. Okay, so you just find the answer for A union of B cross C and you just post in the comment section. Okay, so I think most of you have solved it. Very good. See, actually, the thing is, if I had to find A union of B cross C, the very first thing is, first of all, I had to find B cross C. And you already know what is B cross C, right? So it is a Cartesian product between B and C. The elements in B are 2 and 4, and the elements are in C are 3 and 6. So based on this, the B cross C will be equal to 2 comma 3, 2 comma 6, 4 comma 3, 4 comma 6. Fine. So once we know B cross C, so next A union of B cross C. In fact, the thing is, the students usually they will get confused because in B cross C, what we have here is ordered pairs. Whereas in EA, A is not a Cartesian product. A is just a set. Okay. So what does the set contain? It contains elements. When can we really find the union between the ordered pairs and set? Yes, we can. Okay. So just you have to include all the elements. So the set A contains 1, 3, 5, which are the elements, whereas B cross C, it does not contain the elements, rather it will contain the ordered pairs. Okay, so just you need to include everything. Fine? Understood, right? So similarly, can you guess the answer? If I find A intersection of B cross C, what will be the answer? Suppose instead of union, if I find the intersection between A and B cross C, what might be the answer? Yes, very good. The answer is 0, but you should not write 0, okay? So when you are telling with respect to sets, you should not tell 0, rather you have to tell, yeah, null or empty, okay? So the symbol you can use is within the flower, you can put an empty flower bracket, or you can use this null symbol. This is the null symbol. Fine? Okay. So, I just want you to understand only two things here: the definition of the Cartesian product and then how to find the number of elements in the Cartesian product. Are these two concepts clear for you? No doubt in that. Is everyone clear in that? Okay, fine. Okay, I have one simple question for you. Let me see how much you have understood. Suppose if I have two different sets, okay, say for example set A and set B. Okay, so my question is very simple. Will cardinality of A cross B will be same as cardinality of B cross A? Will it be same? I'm just asking you whether the cardinality of A cross B will be same as cardinality of B cross C. Okay, very good. Some are telling no and some are telling yes. If you are telling yes, is it like only sometimes it will be, or every time it will be same? No, every time it can't be same. Because when you find A cross B, whatever the ordered pair you will get, the first element will be from the first set, and the second element will be from the second set. Okay, it can't be same. Okay, so Mohammed Saif is telling that if the number of elements in each set are same, then the cardinality will be same. Exactly, very good. So what the Mohammed has been told is correct. That is one case. What you have told is correct. Is there any other case where both A cross B and B cross A will be same? One case is correct. Mohammed is correct. Is there any other case? One case is correct. If both the sets are same, then A cross B will be equal to B cross A. Exactly. Even Chitran Banerjee and Anagadi, both are correct. See, if set A is null and set B is null, then also A cross B will be same as B cross A. Very good. Okay. These are the only two cases where A cross B will be same as B cross A. Very good. Fine. So let us solve one more problem. Okay. Sir. Okay. So I'll take one simple case. Okay. Like for example, set A is equal to 2 comma 3 and set B is equal to 3 comma 4 comma 5. Okay. So now I just want you to find whether A union of B cross C is same as A union B cross A union C. Okay. So now try to solve it and post the answer in the comment section.
Sir, what about set C?
Exactly. So the Abhishek, whatever he has told is correct. The question is invalid. Okay. So this is not A union of B cross C. Rather, it is A cross of B union C is same as A cross B union A cross C. Okay. So now try to solve this.
Sir, what is set C?
ಈ ಸಲ ನಾನು ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಬರ್ತಾರ ಸರ್. Okay, sorry, set C is not given. Okay, you just assume some set of elements. Okay, I'll just give 2 comma 7. Set C is 2 comma 7. In fact, actually this is like just like a distributive law. Fine. Okay, so I will just solve this. You also keep solving. So first A cross of B union C, in the sense, first of all, I have to find B union C. The B union C is given by uh, the B contains 3, 4, 5 and C contains 2, 7. So just I have to include all the elements 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay, so this has to be found Cartesian product with the set A, which contains 2 comma 3. So now if I find the Cartesian product, the LHS will be equal to 2 comma 2, 2 comma 3, 2 comma 4, 2 comma 5, 2 comma 7. So similarly 3 comma 2, 3 comma 3, 3 4, 3 5, 3 7. Okay, so these are all of the set of ordered pairs that I'll get for the LHS. So similarly for the RHS, what he's telling is A cross B union of A cross C. So first of all, I had to find A cross B. Next, I had to perform the union operation with A cross C. So the A cross B, so this is given by, just write all the ordered pairs. So it will be 2 comma 3, 2 comma 4, 2 comma 5, 3 comma 3, 3 comma 4, 3 comma 5. Fine. And B A cross C, this is given by 2 comma 2, 2 comma 7, 3 comma 2, 3 comma 7. Fine. Okay. So this is A cross B and this is A cross C. If I find the union between A cross B and A cross C, so which are all the set of ordered pairs I'll get? So it will be equal to, so I'll just write all the ordered pairs 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 3, 3. Okay. So are they same? Of course, you will get same, right? So actually, what the point that I'm just trying to make you clear is actually usually in Cartesian product, what they will do is they will ask you the theorems. Okay, like this problem, they will ask you to check whether A cross of B union C is same as A cross B union A cross C. When this question is given, what most of the students will do is they will just assume some elements for set A, they will assume some elements for set B, and they will assume some elements for set C, and they will solve in this way. Okay, this is exactly correct. You can solve in like that, but when they ask you in the form of a theorem, you cannot take some elements randomly, because the exam what it won't conclude as a whole. Okay, like for example, you the examiner, he might think like, okay, whatever the solution that you have given, this formula, it might be true for these set of elements. Maybe it is wrong for some other set of elements. So you cannot prove by taking some other set of elements again. So like that, how many elements you will take? It's not possible, right? So in case of the theorem, always you have to give the generalized proof. I'll repeat, whenever in the exam, if they ask this kind of questions, okay, you cannot give by considering some examples, you cannot give proof. Always you have to give the generalized proof. Okay. Suppose if if he gives a set of set of elements in the A, B, C, and if he asks this kind of questions, then it is fine. Okay. So otherwise, you cannot take elements on your own and prove in this way. Okay. So now I will start with theorems. See, in module 3 especially, you will get more number of theorems. Okay, but I'll just teach you one simple method. Okay, using this method, any theorem easily you can solve. Okay, so before I teach you the theorem, first of all, you just have to understand this concept of antisymmetry. Fine. So now assume that I have two sets. Okay, say for example, this is the set A and this is set B. Okay, so now if I ask you to prove set A is equal to set B, how can you prove? What you will do is you will take some element, say for example, the elements in the set A are 1, 2, 3. Whatever the elements that is present in A, you will check whether it is present in B also. Like for example, the element that is there in A, the first element is 1. Is it there in B? You will check. Next you will check with the 2. Next you will check with the 3. If all the elements of A, if it is present in B, can you conclude A is equal to B? With this, can you conclude A and B are same? No, right? So from this, what you can conclude is just A is a subset of B. If I have to tell A is also equal to B, even every element that is present in B should also be present in A. Okay. So A will be equal to B only when A is a subset of B and also B is a subset of A. Will you agree? Correct, right? So now this rule, this kind of rule, we can also call it as, so this rule will hold antisymmetric property. Fine, right? So this will follow the antisymmetric property. Okay. See, actually, whatever the things I am telling you, this is very important. Okay, because see, actually, around 7 to 8 theorems you will get. Okay, in relations and functions. In every theorem, I will use the same principle. Okay. Suppose if I have to prove LHS is equal to RHS, what I will do? I will prove that every element that is present in the LHS is also present in the RHS. What is the conclusion of that? LHS is a subset of RHS. But this is not sufficient if I have to tell LHS is equal to RHS. Next, what I will do is every element that is present in RHS is also present in LHS. Okay, vice versa. If I prove vice versa, then LHS and RHS are same. Okay, so now I have given this antisymmetric rule with respect to subset. So now, can you tell some other operation which will satisfy the antisymmetric rule? I'll give one more example for you. That is, say for example, divisibility. Okay, so divisibility is an operation. Divisibility is an operation which will satisfy the antisymmetric rule. If you ask me one example, I'll tell you. Say for example, A divides B. Fine. A divides B and B divides A. When is this possible? Say for example, 2 will divide 4, but 4 will not divide 2. Okay, 4 is a multiple of 2. Okay, so if some element X divides Y and Y also divides X, it is possible only when both are equal, right? So this is possible only when A and B are equal. Okay, and since this rule is satisfied, this will follow the property of antisymmetry. What does antisymmetric property tell? Antisymmetric property tells that if some relation exists between A and B and also the same relation exists between B and A, then A and B are equal. So this is the rule of antisymmetry. Fine. So now I have given you two examples. One is a subset of, and the another one is what is it? Divisibility. So like that, can you tell me any example operation so which will satisfy the rule of antisymmetry? I want you to give some example which will satisfy the rule of antisymmetry. Subset operation, which it will satisfy the antisymmetric property, and divisibility, it will satisfy the antisymmetric. Banerjee, what you have told is A minus B is very much equal to B minus A. Okay, what you are telling is A minus B, it will be equal to some element, and it will be equal to same number when, okay, fine, okay. Next. Any other example? Parallel lines. What is a parallel line? Okay, so similarly, you can give the examples of less than or equal to. Okay, so now I'll just tell that some number, say for example, A is less than or equal to B. Similarly, even B is also less than or equal to A. When is it possible? A is less than or equal to B, and B is also less than or equal to A. So it is possible only when A and B are equal. Okay, so don't look at only less than. What I have told is less than or equal to. Fine. So similarly, you can tell greater than or equal to, and you can give the example of multiple of. Okay. See, actually, what I am trying to conclude here is, it's very simple. Whenever I have to prove LHS is equal to RHS, okay, so you'll be having so many theorems. In all the theorems, you have to prove LHS is equal to RHS, okay. So in order to solve those kind of problem, I'll be using this anti-symmetric rule, okay. So for all the theorems, I will use the same rule. And what does the anti-symmetric rule tells? Anti-symmetric rule tells that if some relation exists between LHS and RHS and vice versa, then they will be equal, okay. So now, okay, fine. So now we have understood the anti-symmetric rule. Before I go into the theorems, I just want you to understand one more thing. Actually, yes, in the first class, actually, already I have taught you about the sets, the different operations that you can perform, like union, intersection, and all. Okay, so I'll just repeat that. Okay, so just I will give the mathematical definitions for that. Okay, suppose you have two sets, say for example A and B. You have two sets. I'll just write the Venn diagram. It will be more convenient for you. Fine. So I just written the Venn diagram. So this is set A. Assume this is set B. Okay. So now what does A union B contains? The set A union B contains. So when I tell you set, you already know that the set will contain elements, but the Cartesian product, it will contain ordered pair, right? So the set A and B, between this I am finding the union. So what does it contain? It will contain some arbitrary element, right? So it will contain some arbitrary element X. But what is the rule for that? That if I have to consider X belong to A union of B, that element, it can either belong to A or it can belong to B. Okay, so this part you already know, right? So that particular element X, it should belong to A or it should belong to B, right? So this is the definition for union, right? So similarly, what is the definition for A intersection B? So A intersection B, it contains the element X such that what? If I have to consider a element X that belong to A intersection B, that element should belong to both A and B, right? So mathematically, I can write that if X belong to A intersection of B, then X belong to A, and that particular element X should belong to B. See, actually, these wordings are very much important. So what here I have told is or. That particular element can belong to either A or B. So in the intersection, it has to belong to A and also it should belong to B. Okay. And writing this mathematical definitions is very much important for the theorems. Okay. So if you are able to write in this way only, you can solve the theorems. So similarly, what else I have told you? Union, intersection. Okay, fine. Difference. Okay. So can you tell me what is A minus B? What is the rule for A minus B? If I have to consider a particular element X belong to A minus B, then what is the condition? The condition is very simple. So if I consider this is set A and set B, that particular element X should belong only to A, not B. Okay. So that particular element, it should belong to A. And at the same time, it should not belong to B. Okay. So now, you have understood what is A union B, how to write it mathematically, what is A union B, what is A intersection B, and what is A minus B. One last thing I will tell you, which I have already told you, that is A cross B, Cartesian product. So what does A cross B contain? A cross B contains the ordered pair X comma Y such that X should belong to the A and Y should belong to B. Okay. So before I go to the theorems, I'll just summarize everything. Two concepts you have to understand clearly. One is the anti-symmetric rule. What does anti-symmetric rule tells? The anti-symmetric rule tells that if x is related to y and y is related to x, then x is equal to y. Okay, so this is the anti-symmetric rule. That is the first thing you have to remember. And the second thing is you have to you should know how to write mathematically. Okay, how to write mathematically what is a cross b, what is a minus b, what is a intersection b, and what is a union b. And students, actually, I just want to tell you one thing. Don't get confused. Okay, usually the students, they will get confused because even for the a minus b, a intersection b, and a cross b, everywhere you are having and, right? But you will go into this set operations. You will go into this set operations, that is union, intersection, and difference, when you are dealing with the same element. See, actually, if you observe this, everywhere I have written only x belonging to a or x belonging to b, x belonging to a and x belonging to b, x belonging to a and x does not belong to b. Okay, so then you have to think about this set operations. Okay, when you have two different elements like x belonging to a and y belonging to b, in that case you have to take Cartesian product. Okay, so this is a small hint, but it will help you a lot when you are solving the theorems. Fine. So I'll just repeat, when you are dealing with the different elements and you have the symbol and, you have to go with the Cartesian product. When you are dealing with the same element, if you have the symbol or, then you have to go with the union. If you have the symbol and, then you have to go with the intersection, and if you have does not belong to, then you have to go with the difference. Fine. Okay. Yes, maybe you might be thinking that it's very simple concepts. Yes, it is simple, but the thing is, to avoid the confusion, these things are very much necessary. Okay, so in exam, with regard to the Cartesian product, either he will ask you the definition, or he might ask you the simple problems that we have solved before, like he will give you what is set A, what is set B, and he will ask you what is A cross B, B cross C, like this simple questions he might ask, or he will ask you these theorems. Okay, so for any three non-empty subsets A, B, C, for any three non-empty subsets A, B, C, prove that A cross of B union C is equal to A cross B union A cross C. Okay, so this is the theorem. Okay. See, actually, am I audible? Are you following me? Whatever I have taught you till now, you have understood, right? Okay, so I'll just continue. Okay, so now I have to prove A cross of B union C is equal to A cross B union A cross C. Okay, see, actually only one theorem you just try to focus correctly. All the remaining theorems, the working procedure will be very same. Okay, it will be almost same. And just because of this reason, okay, in textbooks, actually in one textbook they have given different procedure, and it will be difficult for the students to memorize. Okay, so for that reason, what I have done is all the theorems I have solved in almost in the same procedure. Okay, so that it will be easy for the students to memorize the theorems. Fine. For the theorems, you can refer my notes. Fine. I'll just solve this first problem. See, actually, the technique, I'll just follow the same technique. Okay, so like here I have to prove LHS is equal to RHS. So you should not take some elements for set A, B, and C, and you should not prove this problem. Okay, so you should not solve in that way. You have to give the generalized proof. So for that, sir, can you please record the session? Okay, I'll start recording. Okay, so anyhow, so here I have to give the generalized proof, right? So now what I will do is I will take some element in LHS, and I will prove that the same element also belong to the RHS, and then I will take the second element, third element, like that. I will take okay, so I'll take all the elements in set A, and I will say LHS, and I will prove the same elements also belong to the RHS. Okay, so I will proceed in this way. So to proceed in this way, actually, first of all, I don't know which are all the elements that belong to the LHS, right? So since I don't know what elements that belong to the LHS, I will take some arbitrary element. But now my point is, you cannot take element because this is not a set, it is a Cartesian product. Since it is a Cartesian product, you cannot take element. What I will do is I will take some arbitrary ordered pair, say for example x comma y, some arbitrary ordered pair x comma y. Okay, so it belongs to the LHS, that is A cross of B union C. Okay, so now I told you, I have already taught you the definitions of union, cross product and all. So based on those definitions, so now can you elaborate this? So what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is the first element belong to the set A and the second element belong to the B union C, right? So when you elaborate this, this can be written as, from the definition of Cartesian product, this will be equal to X belonging to A and Y belong to B union C. So this is from the definition of Cartesian product. This is from the definition of Cartesian product. Okay. So now, if you observe, I cannot elaborate this, but you can further elaborate this one. Okay. So what he is telling? He is telling that Y belong to B union C, and you already know the definition of union, right? So now, if you elaborate this part, what will happen? So this I will write as it is: X belonging to A, and so this can be written as, what is the meaning of Y belonging to B union C? The meaning is Y belong to B. Should I write and or? Or, correct, right? So or Y belong to C. Okay. So next, if you elaborate this further, this can be written as, X belonging to A and Y belonging to B. Since you have brackets here, you just have to multiply this X belonging to A for both the parts. Okay. So this can be written as X belonging to A and Y belonging to B. This is the one part. Next, or X belonging to A and Y belonging to C, right? Okay. So now what I have to do is, now I have to again combine this. See, actually, now if you observe this, is the board visible for you properly? I think it has got blurred, right? Can I continue? Students, can I continue? Okay, so I'll continue. So now, if you observe this, what he has given is X belonging to A and Y belonging to B. So if you combine this, what will happen? If you combine this, this will be equal to X comma Y belong to A cross B, or X comma Y belonging to A cross C. I told you, right? Just if you remember those four mathematical definitions, that is union, intersection, Cartesian product and difference, you can solve any theorem of this kind. Okay. So now what he, since this is the definition of Cartesian product, because you have ampersand here and you have different elements. When you have different elements, what you have to write is Cartesian product only, right? Okay. So Joshi, you are telling that board is blur. I think it's a network issue. Let us wait for 1 minute. It will get cleared. I think even if it is blur also, you can listen to me, right? And since I'm telling, I think you can make out. Okay. So now again, the final thing is, so here some arbitrary ordered pair X comma Y belonging to A cross B, or the same arbitrary pair belonging to A cross C. So since you are dealing with the same set, same element, that is X comma Y, so what you have to write here is set operations. Okay. So X comma Y belong to A cross B union A cross C. Okay. So now, if you observe this problem, actually, I have just used the four definitions. Using those four definitions only, I have solved this. Okay. So in the beginning, I have started by telling that some arbitrary element X comma Y belonging to LHS. So in the final conclusion, the same arbitrary ordered pair X comma Y is also belonging to RHS. So now, what is the conclusion of this? The conclusion of this is very simple. Okay. The conclusion is, I'll just write here, the LHS, that is A cross of B union C, is a subset of A cross B union A cross C. Okay. But with this, can I conclude that A cross of B union C is equal to A cross B union A cross C? No. What I have to do is, again, I have to take some arbitrary element in the RHS, and I have to prove the same element also belonging to LHS. Okay. So just for 4 to 5 marks, we cannot solve this problem again by taking like that. So instead, what you can do is, okay. So now again, if you observe this problem from bottom to top direction, so if you observe the last step, I have taken some arbitrary ordered pair belonging to the RHS, and if you see step by step upward, the same arbitrary ordered pair belonging to the LHS. Okay. So you just have to tell the examiner to look at the problem from top to bottom and also bottom to top. For that, you just have to use this symbol. Okay, so what is the meaning of this symbol? This symbol indicates that you have to look at the problem from top to bottom and also bottom to top. Okay, so now if you look at the problem from bottom to top, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is even even the RHS, that is A cross of B union A cross of C, is a subset of A cross of B union C. Okay, so now this I will take as 1, this I will take as 2. From 1 and 2, what is the conclusion? From 1 and 2, and from the rule of anti-symmetry, we can conclude that LHS is equal to RHS. Fine. See, actually in this problem, the symbol is very much important. Okay, this symbol is very much important. So is there any doubt in this one? I know actually the board is a little bit blur. Anyhow, this problem have you understood clearly? Okay. Okay. So if you have understood this clearly, I want you to solve one more problem. Okay, so this I will keep like this only. I'll just put one more problem here. A cross of B intersection C is same as A cross B intersection A cross C. This is my question. Okay. So those who have understood this problem clearly, take one paper and pen and try to solve this. Same procedure. Okay. Just you will consider some ordered pair belonging to the LHS. After that, you just have to elaborate this, and finally again you need to merge that. But for that elaboration and merging, all you need to do is just you will be using those 4 definitions. That's all. Nothing else is more. Okay, and you will prove and you'll just write the symbol and you will just conclude that from 1 and 2 from the rule of anti-symmetry both are same. Okay, but here while expanding and while combining, instead of union you have to use the intersection definition. Okay, so try to solve it. I'll give you some 5 to 10 minutes. Solve it, and if you have any doubts you can ask later. I'll solve it. I want everyone to solve the problem that I have given. Okay, don't put any unwanted messages. So this is the question that I have given. Okay, I want everyone to solve it. So students, so you are able to solve this problem. Have you solved it? Okay, so very good. So those who have not solved, you just try to listen again. See, actually, in order to prove this LHS is equal to RHS, I have to consider some arbitrary ordered pair that belonging to the LHS. Okay, why ordered pair? Ordered pair because here it is Cartesian product. It is not a set. Okay, if it is just a set, I would have taken the element, but this is not an element. This is not a set. It is a Cartesian product. So I have to take some ordered pair. Say for example, x comma y belonging to LHS, that is A cross of B intersection C. Fine. So after this, so now I have to expand this based on the Cartesian product definition. Okay. So now if I expand this, the meaning of this is the first element x belonging to the set A, and the second element y that belong to B intersection of C. Okay. So now this I can expand further, right? So if I expand it further, this can be written as x belonging to A, and this can be written as y belong to B. I have to use the word and because it is intersection, y belonging to B and y belonging to C, right? So later, this can be further written as x belonging to A and y belonging to B. This is one part, and x belonging to A and y belonging to C, right? So now I have expanded to the full extent. So now I have to recombine this. So now if I recombine this, the thing is, if you combine this, actually, if you observe this, this is as per the definition of Cartesian product because you have different symbols, that is x and y. If x belonging to A and y belonging to B, then the ordered pair x comma y belong to A cross of B. And same holds good even for this part, x comma y belonging to A cross of C. So now if you observe, the same ordered pair x comma y belonging to A cross B and A cross C. Since it is the same ordered pair, I have to go with either union, intersection, or difference. But which one you will take? You have to take intersection because you have and here. Okay, so for this reason, x comma y belonging to A cross B and A cross C, that is intersection of A cross C. Okay, so now if you observe this, I have taken some arbitrary ordered pair x comma y belonging to LHS, and in few steps I have proved that the same ordered pair also belonging to RHS. So from this I can conclude that LHS is a subset of RHS, right? So if you look at this problem in bottom to top direction, so just you have to use this symbol, right? If you look at this problem in this direction, even the whatever the ordered pair is there that belonging to the RHS, the same ordered pair also belong to LHS, right? So from this, I can conclude that even similarly, you can write similarly, even RHS is also a subset of LHS. Okay, so this you can take as 1, this you can take as 2. From 1 and 2, and from the rule of anti-symmetry, you can conclude that LHS is equal to RHS. Okay, so in the exam, this conclusion is very much important. Okay, so have some patience, write the conclusion properly, otherwise you won't get any full marks. Okay, so now you have understood this, right? So I'll give few more problems of this kind. A cross of B minus C is equal to A cross of B minus C is equal to A cross B minus of A cross C. Okay. So try to solve this now. You also know the definition of difference. What is the definition of difference? If I tell some element x belonging to A minus of B, what is the meaning of that? That particular element x belonging to A and x does not belong to B. Okay. So based on this, please try to solve this. Again, I'll give some 5 minutes. Try to solve this. See, in actually you can. I'll just refer the previous. I will just show you the previous year question papers. In almost in every question paper, actually, you'll get one question on the Cartesian product. Either they can ask you the definition or they can ask you the problem. But the most repeated question is this kind of theorems only, right? So easily you can score marks. Okay, so try to solve this. So tomorrow I have class for you. So tomorrow should I do module 1 concepts or module 3 concepts? It's your wish. Which one I have to do? Tomorrow class, should I take module 1 topic or module 3 topic? Okay. Okay, so most of you are typing module 3 only. I'll continue with this module 3 only. Okay, fine. So anyhow, so first solve this problem. Okay, so I think most of you have already solved it. Okay, so if you have any doubt in that one, so I'll solve this problem again. So you can just have a look. Okay, so this Cartesian product x comma y belonging to a cross of b minus c this time. So just you have to remember those mathematical definitions for union, intersection, and difference. Okay, if you know that any problem of this kind, easily you can solve, right? So now, based on this definition, this can be written as x belonging to a, that is the first part, and the second part y belonging to b minus of c. Okay, and what is the definition for b minus of c? It's very simple. So x belonging to a, and so the definition of b minus c is that particular element y belong to b. And what is the second condition? Y does not belong to the second set, that is c, right? So after this, so I have to expand this further. So x belonging to a and y belonging to b, that is the first part. Next, and x belonging to a and y does not belong to c, right? So after this, so again, I have expanded this to the fullest. Next, I have to combine this. When I'm combining this, so this is as per the definition of Cartesian product, because we have two different elements, x comma y. Okay, so if I combine this, what will happen? X comma y belong to a cross b. X comma y belong to a cross b. And what is the second part? Actually, this is the portion where most of the students would have got confused. Okay, those who have not got confused, fine. See, actually, if I have x belonging to A and y belong to C, I would have written x comma y belong to A cross of C. Okay, but instead, what I have here is y does not belong to C. Then if it does not belong to C, then I cannot include that particular ordered pair, right? I cannot include that particular ordered pair x comma y. If I cannot include that particular ordered pair x comma y, what is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is x comma y does not belong to A cross C. Very simple, right? So now the thing is x comma y, it does not belong to A cross of C. Very simple, right? So now some ordered pair x comma y, it belongs to A cross B, but it does not belong to A cross C. Actually, this is the definition of difference. In the beginning, I have written 4 definitions, right? So it is as per that one. Therefore, this x comma y, this belongs to A cross of B, but it does not belong to A cross of C, so minus A cross of C. So same thing. So here some arbitrary element I have considered, I have taken it belongs to the LHS. The same thing also belongs to the RHS. So similarly, you can take any ordered pair. Okay. So that belong to the LHS also belong to the RHS. Just I have given a generalized proof. So remaining part you already know. So from this I can conclude the LHS is a subset of RHS. The same thing holds good even for the RHS. RHS is a subset of LHS. And then from the rule of antisymmetry, both are equal. So now today I have taught you the definition of Cartesian product. Okay, when they ask you the definition of Cartesian product, you have to write the example also. After that, how to find the number of ordered pairs in a Cartesian product, that is given by the formula. Cardinality of A cross B is equal to cardinality of A cross cardinality of B. After that, we have solved the problems like, say for example, set A contains few elements, set B contains few elements. What is A cross B? What is B cross A? All those problems, all those kind of problems we have solved. And then the simple theorems also we have actually any theorem of this kind easily we can solve, right? So instead of this, actually sometimes in some of the question papers, instead of this, he can give like A cross of B minus C. Instead of that, he will give A intersection B cross C. A intersection B cross C. So which is actually equal to A intersection B cross C is equal to A cross C intersection B cross C. Actually, this is also same problem. See, actually, the question might be different, okay? But the thing is, if you know the basic rules for intersection, union, difference, and Cartesian product, any problems of this kind easily you can solve, right? So I have taken different problems. I have solved it. So any theorem of this kind, I think you will be able to solve, right? So next, these are the topics in the Cartesian product, right? So next, I will start with the relations. Okay, so before I start with the relation, everyone are you clear with the Cartesian product? Everyone have understood the Cartesian product, right? Okay, see actually, if you have understood the Cartesian product clearly, so now I just want to tell you, this Cartesian product is like a union. Okay, it is like a universal set, right? Whereas whatever the relations and functions that I'm going to teach you, what I can tell is this relation is like a subset of a Cartesian product. Okay, so let me justify my statement. So my statement is the relation is a subset of Cartesian product. Okay, so I'll just give you one example. Okay, so you already know the definition of a Cartesian product, right? I'll just write it again. The Cartesian product A cross B, it contains the ordered pair x comma y such that x belong to the set A and y belong to the set B. This is the only condition, right? Like for example, the first element should belong to the first set, second element should belong to the second set. That's all, nothing else other than that. So if this rule is satisfied, just I will include that ordered pair. It will contain all the possible ordered pairs. As I have told you, it is like a universal set. Suppose if I impose any condition, I'll repeat, if I impose any condition on that, so that is called as a relation. Okay, so for that I'll give an example. Say for example, I have set A is equal to 2, 3, 4. Okay, and set B, I'll take one more set B. This will contain the elements like 4, 6, 8. Okay, so I have taken these elements. Okay, just take 4, 6, 8. Okay, enough. Okay, so these are the elements I have taken. So now I will define one relation. Okay, so now, so here lighting is there. I'll just write here. So now I will define the relation R1. Okay, R1 is a relation from set A to set B. Okay, R1 is a relation from set A to set B. What does it tell? It tells that it contains the ordered pair, say for example x comma y, such that the first two rules are same. That is x belonging to the A, y belonging to the B, and along with this, I will impose one condition. The condition might be anything. Okay, so I will put one simple condition like x divides y. I have put a condition that x divides y. Okay, so this is one simple definition I have given for the relation, one example definition. Okay, so based on this, now can you tell me which are all the ordered pairs that contains R1? See, actually, the definition for R1, what I have given is it contains the ordered pair x comma y such that x belonging to the first set, y belonging to the second set, and also the first element should divide the second element. Based on this, if I try to write the ordered pairs for this, so which are all the elements that I can include? Can I include 2 comma 4? Yes, because 2 divides 4. Okay, so 2 comma 4, this is valid, very good. 2 comma 6, yes, it is valid. 2 comma 8, yes, it is valid because 2 is an even number and 6 and 8 are also even numbers. Definitely it will divide, no issues. Okay, so next, can I include 3 comma 4? No, I should not include. Even even though 3 belong to the first set and 6 belong to the second set, I cannot include 4 belong to the second set. I cannot include 3 comma 4 because 3 does not divide 4. Okay, so I should not write 3 comma 4. Then what else I can write? 3 comma 6 is valid. 3 comma 8 also I should not write because 3 will not divide 8. Next, what else I can write? 4 comma 4 is valid. Yes, because 4 will divide itself. Next, 4 comma 8. Okay, so now just for your reference, instead of this relation, if I would have written the Cartesian product A cross B, which are all the elements that it contains, if I just write the Cartesian product, it will contain ordered pairs like 2 4, 2 6, 2 8, similarly 3 4, 3 6, 3 8, similarly 4 4, 4 6, 4 8. See, in case of the Cartesian product, without any condition, I will include all the ordered pairs. Whereas in the relation, this condition has to be satisfied. So now, with this example, is my statement justified? That is what I have told is the relation is a subset of Cartesian product. And I have given one more statement, that is a Cartesian product is like a union because it contains all the possible ordered pairs, right? It contains all the possible ordered pairs, right? Whereas in the relation, we will include only a subset of the Cartesian product, only those ordered pairs which will satisfy this condition. Okay, so again, in the exam, if they ask you the definition, what you can tell is what is a relation? A relation is a subset of Cartesian product. You cannot tell in the form of a sentence much. Okay, so what you can do is you can just give this example. Okay, so you just write as an example and you just give this example. Fine. Okay, so that is the introduction about the relation. Fine. What is the time now? Okay, still we have time. Okay, so now we have understood, right, what the relation is. Is everyone clear what is a relation? See, from now onwards, I will just take you into the relations itself. I will just teach you the different representations of the relations, and we will be solving more theorems on the relations. Next, we will be seeing the different properties of the relations, and based on that, we will see, particularly, we will see more examples in the equivalence relation. Okay, what is a partial order? Like that, we will see more concepts in the relations itself. Okay, so okay, fine. So now we have got an idea what a relation is. And one more thing, actually, I have given you one example, right? Say for example, x divides y. Like that, how many relations I can define? I can tell that R1. I have defined one relation. Similarly, I will tell one more thing. Say for example, the relation R2. So I'll just write here the relation R2, which tells that it contains the ordered pair x comma y such that x belonging to A, y belonging to B, and also the condition is x is greater than y. So similarly, I can define one more relation R3 where the condition is x is less than y, less than or equal to y. Like this, how many relations I can define? For that, we have a formula. Suppose if R1, R2, all these relations are defined between the set A and set B. And if I know the number of elements in the set A and if I know the number of elements in the set B, how many possible relations I can define from set A to set B? That is given by the formula 2 to the power of m into n. This is very much important. Okay. So where m is the number of elements in the set A and n is the number of elements in the set B. If I know the number of elements in set A and set B, I can find the number of elements in the Cartesian product that is given by m into n, and I can also find the number of possible relations from set A to set B that is given by 2 to the power of m into n. Is it clear? And you don't have to worry about the proof for this formula. Okay, you don't have to worry for that. Okay, so just you have to remember the formula, and in exam usually what they will do is this kind of questions usually they will ask for 3 to 4 marks. What he will do is he will tell like set A contains 3 elements, set B contains some 4 elements. So how many possible relations from set A to set B? Or what he can do is he will only give you the total possible relations from set A to set B is some 3000, 4096, like that. He will give some number, and he will tell you the number of elements in set A is so and so. What is the number of elements in set B? Okay, so these kind of problems usually they will ask. Fine. So in the next class we will solve more problems on this. So today I just want to conclude with I think you are very much clear with what is a Cartesian product. I mean, what is the definition of that, and the problems related to the Cartesian product, that is he will give 2 sets and he will ask A cross B, B cross C, like that, and the theorems on Cartesian product. And next I have taught you about the definition of relation. What is a relation? I have given one example for you. I have not solved any problem on the relation, just I have given you the definition of the relation, and then I have told you how to find the total possible relations from set A to set B. That formula I have given. Whatever the concepts I have told you today, is it clear, students? Can I conclude the today's class? Can I end the class? So tomorrow, as you have told, as most of the students have told me, so tomorrow I'll just start with module number 3 itself. Okay, I'll continue with the relations part. Fine. Okay, thank you, students. Thanks for your patience. You can log out now. Thank you so much.